Welcome to United Technical Automotive Consulting, Automotive 101 course. This course is a basic overview of the powertrain and mechanics of most vehicles. The course is intended as an aid to those seeking a career in the automotive industry. It's not intended to be a substitute for a college degree or a course in automotive repair, but it will assist you in beginning a career in the automotive repair industry. The more hands-on activity you have with an automobile during these courses, the better your learning experience will be. This course also assumes little to no prior knowledge about automotive repair. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about me first before we start the courses. I'm an ASE Master Technician in Automotive Technology. I'm also an ASE Master in Diesel as well. That means I passed all 8 of the automotive and all 8 of the diesel courses. I have an L1 Advanced Electronics certification as well, and I've kept those up for approximately 20 years. I'm an instructor. I've been an automotive instructor for the past 15 years, and I have been an automotive technician for over 30 years. So my knowledge of automotive is pretty great, pretty vast. I'm not saying that I know it all, and I don't. But I'm going to try to teach you the best I can. And we're going to start with a course outline. I'm going to explain to you some of the things that we're going to talk about. And we'll break these into small courses so that the class won't be so long and won't be so bundlesome. The first thing we'll cover will be safety. We'll be discussing some of the safety components of automotive. That's actually more important to me than anything in automotive because we don't want to die while we're working on a car. There's no sense in anybody getting hurt. So let's always be safe. And we'll go into some of the things and some of the components related to safety. We'll also talk about tools, hands-on tools, electric tools, power tools, air tools. There's a lot of different tools in the automotive industry. There's more than I can even talk about actually. So tools will be discussed in the automotive field, in this automotive program, and it'll be a single course itself on tools because there are so many different tools out there. The next thing we'll do is we'll move into the actual automotive repair part of it, and the beginning thing that we'll talk about will be the drivetrain. And the drivetrain consists of the engine, the transmission, the drive shaft, the rear end, the components that actually pulls the vehicle down the road, and we'll talk about that. The axle, the wheels and the tires, all the way down to the road. We'll talk about from the engine basically to the road, so we can discuss every component between there. We'll also talk about the brake system because that's also a vast area. Brakes will be separated on its own in one course because you also have to discuss ABS braking. You have to discuss anti-skid braking now that's on these new cars, and the new cars that actually have the systems on them that park themselves. They also assist with the braking system. There's a lot to these new cars that we'll try to discuss. We're going to just overview a lot of this because this is a 101 course, so I don't want to get into a advanced braking, but I will touch on every little subject area if we can, so you'll have an understanding of everything about brakes basically in the automotive field. We'll also talk about the ignition and the starting system. That'll be another course that we'll talk about. These courses hopefully will be anywhere from 10, 15 to 20 minutes long a piece. Some of them could get up to 30 minutes long, but I'm going to try to keep them as short as possible so that you won't lose interest in the course while I'm teaching it. I want you to learn as much as you can in as short a period as you can, because this course is designed to get you through this fast, because it's not a college, like I said, again, it's not a replacement for a college course, but there's a lot of information that we have to cover in certain areas, especially in the ignition and starting system. So we'll be discussing that as well. The next thing we'll cover will be the charging system, which is what makes the battery stay alive. We don't want the battery to go dead while you're driving down the road. So we'll discuss the charging system and the alternator and the components that actually keep the vehicle alive while it's going down the road. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the cooling system on the vehicle. The cooling system consists of the radiator and the radiator hoses and the coolant that's in the system. So we'll talk about that, and we'll discuss those components and spend as much time as we can on them and go over every little detail of each component in the cooling system. And hopefully this will be enough of an overview in the automotive field to get you to where your knowledge base is up. And, basically I want to get you to where you can move into an advanced course and move into individual advanced courses, because most mechanics don't work in all of these areas. There are some line mechanics out there, but it's kind of rare now because most of your technicians now in dealerships specialize in one area. So you may have a drivability technician, You may have a transmission technician. You may have a brake technician, and then a tires and wheels technician. All these guys are separated in the components now because there is so much knowledge that has to be out there, and we can't cover all of it at one time. So we'll try to cover advanced courses in the later courses that we put together. But this 101 course is going to be basic and make it simple for you. And I hope this is going to be a good enough course for you to at least get you a job in the automotive field. Covering safety today. Some of the components I'd like you to see, first of all, we'll cover the safety glasses. You can see I'm wearing them now. I don't always require people to wear safety glasses, and the only time that I don't require them to wear safety glasses is when we're not doing anything that's a high danger factor. I also wear a prescription lens glasses. I've got them in my pocket here today. I'm just demonstrating these because I wear a regular pair of glasses all the time. But you'll notice that these regular glasses don't have a protective side on them. So if I'm going to do any welding or using a chisel or a hammer or something where there might be some metal flying around or something, I'm going to put either safety glasses on or a shield of some kind so that I'm protecting my eyes. Because your eyes, you can't replace them. So you always want to protect your eyes. And most of this stuff I'm going to be talking about in the beginning here will be what we call PPE. It's a personal protective equipment, which is anything basically that you're going to wear on your body. Okay. So, we'll begin by talking about the gloves. There's mechanic gloves you can wear. These are a little bit old, but you can see I still use some of these gloves, and also the plastic or neoprene throwaway gloves that I wear. I wear these when I'm doing like an extensive repair procedure. I like to put these on to protect my hands so that I don't have to keep washing my hands over and over because they'll get dry and they'll crack open. So I try to keep that from happening by wearing this type of a protective glove. If you're working in a cleaning vat where you're going to be cleaning some parts that are soiled or dirty, you'd want to wear a real heavy glove like this. I keep these in my vat so that I can wear them all the way up my arm to protect all the way up the arm. You don't want to get any kind of material on you. It's very important you wear these when you're working in a vat. Let's move on. We're going to stay with the PPE right now. The mask here. The mask protects your face in case you're spraying any kind of lubricants. It's a good idea to put these on, especially if you're working around a fan, which we are today. We've got fans around in the studio right now because it's kind of warm today. So if I was going to be spraying any kind of lubricants, I would want to wear this mask so that it wouldn't be blowing into my eyes or into my face or wherever. There's dangers inherent to that. The last thing, you can see over here, I've got a little smock that you can buy these online. These are actually a medical type smock. And, you can see this is kind of dirty because I'll put this one on occasionally because it's long sleeve. And, the nice thing about wearing something like this when you're working in a shop is it keeps you from getting your arms and elbows so dirty because sometimes you'll be doing a job that's really, really filthy dirty, and you're going to get your arms dirty all the way up to your elbows and armpits. And the gloves, the smock actually helps with that. I'll button it up all the way to the top even, especially when I'm wearing nice clothes like this, so I won't get my nice clothes dirty or mess them up. I try to keep my shop clean and try to keep myself clean, by using shop rags. I've got some blue shop rags right here. I use these in my shop as well. And, I always try to keep my hands as clean as possible so that I don't actually smear anything on me or, and also if you keep your shop floor clean, and, that's kind of a safety component as well, because if you spill an oil on the floor, you would tend to slip and fall, and, you can end up hurting yourself. So you always want to keep your shop in a real neat, clean, state if you can. Another thing I think this is all the PPE components that we'll talk about today, but I wanted to move on. One thing is the fender covers. I like to put a fender cover over the fender of a car to protect the fender of the vehicle as well. Not necessarily or only to protect the vehicle, but also to protect you. Sometimes the vehicle can be dirty or soiled, and you'll get dirty by doing that. So I always wear these, put these over the car as well. The other thing, occasionally I will use a cloth. These are actually just old sheets. I bought these at a yard sale, And if you're working independently in a repair shop, these work a lot better than the fender covers do, because the fender covers tend to fall off of the fender of the vehicle. And these are soft, and they'll lay right over the edge where you want to, and you can pack them down in around the car, front end or back end or wherever you're working, so that you won't get dirty. And I like to use those as well. The floor jack, as you can see right here in the front, we probably all know how to use a floor jack, but one thing that I like to reiterate is never, ever use a floor jack without a jack stand. You always want to have a jack stand with you. And I mean, even just for 30 seconds, do not jack up a car with this and not put a jack stand under the car, because there's been so many cases where people have been killed using just the hydraulic jack, because the hydraulics can fail without any kind of warning. You get no warning whatsoever. And if you're up under the car with just the hydraulic jack, it can fail. And, a car weighs anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 pounds, and you're not going to hold it off of you. It's going to kill you. So it's very, very important that you use a jack stand anytime you use the floor jack. We'll move on now to the fire extinguisher. Some of you know how to use a fire extinguisher. I like to keep a fire extinguisher in the shop, just for in case there is a fire of some kind. You never know. If you're working around flammable liquids and anything automotive related, you know that there is that chance of having a fire. So, this type of fire extinguisher, this is an ABC fire extinguisher. And, ABC means the different types. There's actually A, B, C, and D are the 4 different types of fire extinguisher. This one here is actually a multitasking fire extinguisher, if you will. It covers all 3 areas. The A segment of it would cover trash, wood, and paper. The B segment will cover liquids, and it even says it on the front of this. The C segment covers electrical equipment. So that's what the A, B, and C is. Now, the D segment, not many mechanics keep the D one handy, but now some of them do. It actually covers metals like magnesium and any kind of a metal, because metals like that, you don't want to put this A, B, and C material on that type of a fire. So if you have a metal fire in your shop, it would be best to either have a D fire extinguisher or just immediately dial 911 and call the fire department and get them to your area if you have a dangerous fire like that. So, but most shops have this type of fire extinguisher, and the way you use this thing is it has a safety lock on it so that it can't be accidentally set off. And you see this is actually double banded. So what you do is you would hold on to it very firmly and grab this steel pin right here, and you pull it very hard, jerk the pin out completely so that it can be used. It can't be used right now because it's locked with this pin. But you grab this steel pin and you pull this pin out, and then you're ready to aim this at a fire, and you'll pull the hose off and you turn it and you aim it at the fire. Now, a lot of people don't even know how to aim this hose at a fire. So if you have a fire in your shop, you always want to aim this hose at the base of the fire, because at the base of the fire is where the fire originates. If you try to aim it at the top of the fire, you're not going to put it out. So always aim it at the base, and just try to have a fire extinguisher handy. They also have a timeout on them. They like for fire extinguishers to be inspected once a month in businesses. But personally, I think you probably could inspect it yourself and look. You can see that on this gauge here, it's in the top end of the green, and that's really all they do. You want to make sure that this gauge reads in the top end of the green all the time. Just, glance at it ever so often and make sure that it's still good. If it's not, these are refillable. This type here, I believe, is a refillable fire extinguisher. Some of your smaller ones you can buy in stores, you throw away. You can get those too as well, and they work just as well in an automotive, an independent automotive shop. But I just happen to have a very nice commercial style right here. So that's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about is I've got over here a canister of paint, and it says on the side of this flammable liquid. So always adhere to any of the safety that's related to the liquids that you use. If you're working with any kind of liquid, you need to know how that liquid's going to react to a fire. And that's because if you ended up having a fire in the shop and this was sitting here right close to the fire, you'd want to try to get it away from the fire just for the sake of stopping the fire from expanding, and becoming this could be a huge accelerant and make the fire even worse. So we don't want that to happen. It's extremely dangerous. I know there's a lot of things here that I was covering kind of randomly, but I just want you to kind of know a little more about safety. One last thing that I like to talk about, if you'll notice my toolbox here, one thing I like to mention to people is, and my students as well when I'm teaching is when you're opening a drawer of a toolbox, you always want to open one drawer and get whatever you're going to get out and close it, and then open the next drawer. Never open, all the drawers at one time, because the danger there is this toolbox could actually tip over. All the weight is in the drawers. So if you ended up opening 5 or 6 drawers here, you could literally cause the toolbox to tip over on you. And this toolbox right here, I know you can't tell how heavy it is, but for me to load this toolbox up and take it anywhere, I have to put it on the back of a trailer. We have to have a ramp and roll it up on there. You cannot pick it up. It weighs entirely too much. So just be safe anytime you're doing automotive repair. Always make sure safety is a part of it. Pay attention to safety. You just need to have it in the back of your mind all the time when you're working on something that, I want to be safe and I don't want to get hurt. You don't want to, grab something and pull on it and something be in the way where you'd end up hurting yourself and injuring yourself, because yourself, if you injure yourself, you're, it's going to slow down your work process. So just try to be safe out there and always adhere to safety, and the safety rules for every piece of equipment that you work with. And that's all I've got today. Thank you.